Welcome to Smart Means Business. I'm Anju Barije. I'm definitely very delighted for you to be a part of today's edition, as we have quite a huge number of stories that are happening all across the world and so many other places in the world. But we are definitely going to be breaking down all these matters as we speak this particular time. And we have lots of headlines coming in from Caribbean East Africa, and where we saw the deputy director of the International Monetary Fund had a visit to Kenya, and quite lots were discussed when he went there to have those discussions. And we shall be taking a look into the in-depth analysis in regards to what really transpired in that particular side. But of course, before we proceed into any other related discussions, let's first of all take a look at what's making headlines within the local press. We take a look at Museveni's letter to put in the dock. Now, the President Museveni's letter on the functionality on the General Court Martial has actually triggered more questions than it had answered the queries that have been actually flying around over the trial of civilians in the military courts. And there is aspects of double standards and why many offenses that involve the use of guns, like aggravated robbery, murder, rebel activity, not being taken to court-martial, but instead being tried in a civilian court. And now to take the example of Jamil Mukulu LRA suspects. So there is a lot of details that have actually been put into this later. So grab yourself a copy of the Daily Monitor. You will actually be in position to take a look at what really transpired into that later. And it's just right here. It's been listed in the Daily Monitor. There is a section where you can actually, there has been some highlights relating to that. Yes. Now, of course, still there is aspects of justice. There is sub-judice, and so many more of that. Now, proceeding along, still in other stories, a vibrant media essential for growth. This, according to the United Kingdom envoy, proceeding. And then there are further details in regards to the president's defense of court-martial triggers of an uproar, as the president claimed that military courts are the same at the same level as other courts of the judiciary. That is what was observed. And the paradox cases involving guns, all that has been highlighted there, and 90% of the female harassment victims never report. This according to the survey that says, now investigators say that fear fueled by lack of trust in the university's reporting mechanisms and the perception that victims will actually be retaliated against is leading many female students to actually internalize the experiences and suffer in silence. Yeah, now that's the survey regarding why 90% Makere female harassment victims, they never report. So there is a lot of untold stories that have been revealed here. And now government blames low refugee funding on wars across the globe. Now in Uganda, most of the refugees rely on the World Food Program, which gives them just a 3 months to survive. Yeah, so now the question is, can you live on $3? That is a month for food and fuel. That is the question that has been posed in relation to that. Now, in other stories, the Uganda Revenue Authority says that they shall close all tax leakages. That's the promise that they have given unto themselves. Now, the Uganda Revenue Authority says that by using data and technology is now able to identify taxpayers who are dodging their responsibilities and those that are manipulating the tax systems. That is according to what they're saying. And now, Nkumba dam site threatens aircraft safety. A lot has also been asserted in there. And the Uganda Securities Exchange begins drafting the ESG in listed companies reporting frameworks. Yes, so a lot has been in there. And also, like I told you, Nkumba Dam site threatens aircraft safety. And now into the comment section, somebody here says that manage online exposure to technology, that is for the children. That is, by the way, very true. And 3 steps back for arbitration. There is a lot of detail still. And we also see somebody here says that ever wonder why grannies lock supplies in their bedroom and trust that nobody will actually break into the door. Yes, a lot has been there. And now the letter of the day, somebody says bridge the gap between the generations, and I think that is very important. We've always seen a scenario where actually not even saying, it's very evident in Uganda that there is a huge difference in what we call the generational divide, the youth and the old. So when that divide still exists, that means there is going to be, it's going to be quite very hard to transfer the knowledge, and that is going to leave the young generation to suffer a lot. So somebody's urging to bridge the gap between the generation, according to what has been put out here. All right, now proceeding along for the movie fans in the streaming section, the biggest haste ever. That's the movie that is actually training, biggest haste ever, and you can of course check it out. It is essentially the scoop regarding for those that are movie fans. You're trying to look for a spot where to actually spend your time during the weekend. And now, in a special report, a woman counting the cost of Bulambuli landslide. Now, a 2019 United States Development Program report indicated that at least 60% of the deaths in the last years caused by extreme climate events, they actually corresponded to women, while women and the children were actually 14 times more likely to die from disaster than men. Now, the latest landslide in Bulambuli district have actually deprived a number of women not only of the lives of their loved ones, but also their livelihoods, whereby for some, starting all over again is actually an option. Yeah. There is a huge report that has actually been put out here for you to check out. And now, alcoholism, night discos, driving learners out of schools. This according to what the leaders say. Now, the local leaders call for the engagement of the mass sensitization on the importance of education and the pledge to address issues within that sector. And then, still as we proceed, a worry over rising malnutrition cases in Teso, and also Bondibujo grapples with new dancing disease. Wow. Now, 300 infected in the recent months, according to what the survey shows. And now from the international side, Syrian rebel leader puts his own stamp on state. Now, the way Hayat Tahrir has gone about shaping the new interim government by bringing the senior administrators from Idlib, and has caused the concern for some. Yeah, there is a huge concern regarding that for some of the people. And now from the job side, somebody here tells you that bring your authentic self to work. Yeah, I think that is that's a very vital aspect. And payroll improvements, the key to business agility, that is for 2025. Well, Graham, there is a lot the experts are saying in relation to that, and well, and also from the sports side, we'll take a look at glamour at the inaugural Corporate Sports Network Awards dinner. Yeah, now the Corporate Sports Network broke away from the popular Corporate League. But within just months, the new coalition seems to be walking the talk of creating stronger bonds among the corporate family through sports and networking at the same time. So that is what we have for the Daily Monitor. And now switching straight to the new vision as we take a look. Now, the Army Court ruling sparks controversy. Now, President Museveni, a role of court-martial lawyers definitely are speaking out in relation to that. And we see Gulu winning a Season 2 university quiz. Congratulations to them. And Ugandans bet 20 billion shillings daily. This according to what the experts have discovered. Ugandans bet 20 billion shillings daily. 20 billion. You can imagine that amount of money. That's quite a lot of money. Now, still in other news, President Museveni urges the public to prioritize the parish development, more accountability. And actually later on into the show, shall be taking a look at his visit to some of the places where he went to, kind of monitor some of the people that have actually that have undertaken some of the government projects, talking about the 4-acre model and so many more. We shall be taking a look at that. Now, the president urged the members of parliament and the local leaders to provide detailed reports on the progress of wealth creation efforts parish by parish. So they be exploring those areas. Now, the Canadian Prime Minister commends relations with Uganda. There is a lot that has been listed about that too. And now, of course, women are less active, eat more due to more access to food. Now, this is according to a report here. Now, half of Kampala women are obese. Now, recent studies have actually shown that more women in Kampala are becoming obese. Now, a conclusion arrived at by calculating their body mass index. Now, there is a lot of statistics that have actually been stated in here. Women are obese in Uganda more than the men. Actually, I was reading some of the article from the New York Times, and it was actually stating something that in Africa, obesity is actually taken to be as a shortcut. Okay, it's more like a sign of financial security when you're obese in Africa. When you have a big stomach in Africa, they all perceive that you actually have money, you're financially secure. That is for African perception, and it was in the New York Times, So obesity, a huge issue in the country. Now, Supreme Court ruling on Army court sparks mixed reactions. Now, some lawyers say that the court has actually committed travesty. That's according to what the lawyers say. Now, the president speaks out on court martial. Now, besides the court, martial court system is actually subordinate one to the general courts of the whole country. Now, if the court martial judged badly, the superior court will actually rectify the issue. Yeah, so that is what we're saying. And now how the controversy on the court martial started, there has been a lot of details that have been listed. Now, during one of the court sessions, one of the lawyers representing Besigye and Lutale, Aaron Kiza, referred to the general court martial as a military tribunal, urging that it is not a court of judicature. Yeah, that's what he said. I was trying to really get to the term there. And of course, there is a full page here regarding how the Gulu outsmarted Lira in thrilling battle of minds. I can see the deputy governor, the Bank of Uganda deputy governor, that is Michael Atingi Ego, handing the trophy. That is to the Gulu University participants, the overall winners of the 2024, as according to what we see. And now the Swedish embassy marks Lucia Day. Now the envoy wishes guests peace, joy during the holiday season. Now the Lucian Day is a Christian feast day observed on December 13th in Sweden and other places. In Kampala this time, the celebrations came 2 days prior. Yeah, so the celebrations really happened in there. And of course, the Justice Ministry saves government 3.6 trillion in court cases. Now, the ministry has actually paid about 121.2 billion Ugandan shillings to about 24,777 livestock claimants. Yeah, so that is according to the figures that we can see. And now Dubai tycoons tap into Uganda's tourism potential. Now, One Nature committed an investment on $10 million to develop the global standard resort. So that's what we see. And of course, in the comment section, somebody here congratulates Gulu University, and why gender equality is actually a dive dream without justice for women living in poverty. Yeah, so grab yourself a copy to get the details. And now one of the writers here says that empower the small and intermediary enterprises to embrace sustainability. Yeah, a lot has been listed. These are experts that come out to really write some of these details, and how to navigate the European Union coffee regulations. The writer also has been expressing something, and how to track implementation and performance of public investments. There is a lot of advice that has been given still relating to that matter. All right, now let's proceed along. Now, value addition exhibition shows how far the best farmers have come. Yeah, the exhibition in relation, and the Uganda Revenue Authority exceeds the target and collects about 11.5 trillion in the last 5 months. You can imagine that is quite a great achievement. And now, ignorance of the law frustrates solid waste management. Yeah, and Colombian fintech eyes Uganda in expansion. Actually, there is a report that we shall be seeing in Caribbean East Africa, where there has been African startups are actually in what we call a winter season. A winter season when it comes to funding. The funding has declined as far as 40%, 40% decline in funding. And now that wasn't actually good news. I'll say it that way. But now, if I see Colombian fintech eyeing Uganda in expansion, well, that is good news. And it's actually going to really create more employment opportunities, as a lot of young people that are employed into the sector are going to get a chance to actually exploit their talents out there to the world. And they'll all be unstoppable. Now, heading into the community news side, in Hoima, youth caution on drug abuse, and they have been encouraged to embrace skills development. Next year, all the youth are graduating in the regional hubs will actually get startup tools to start projects. That's according to, this is the State Minister, Balan Bargahara, mentioning that, youth Minister for the Youth. And now, still in Ibanda, there is an issue regarding a coffee farm registration. Now, NIRA asked to speed up a process in what is happening there. And in Arua, farmers have been tripped on irrigation amidst climate change woes, and that is what is happening in Arua. And judiciary to pilot cultural mediation in Karamoja. Now, this is coming in from Moroto side. And now from Belize, oil companies' compliance with local service tax is boosting revenue, according to what we see into that. And now from the international news side, Israel strikes on Syria against international law. Now, there is absolutely no basis in international law to preventatively or preemptively disarm a country you don't like. That is what they say. Now, Ethiopia, Somalia deal to end in feud. To end feud is a substantial state. This is the deal that is happening between these two countries, Ethiopia, Somalia deal. There has been feud amongst these two countries. Of course, they have something in common, and that is the rebel groups that are fighting on either side. But the deal will be put in place to end the feud amongst these countries. All right. And that brings me to the end of the press brief. Now let's go for the break shortly, and we're returning with our report from Caribbean East Africa and the international updates. Stick around.
Smart 24.